Hi, boys and girls. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we are exploring social studies. And let me show you what we're going to do. Of course, I have a PowerPoint because when do I not? But actually, no videos today, so make sure you're paying close attention because your activity will have to do with this slideshow. And you get a grade on it. So anyways, what are we doing today? Today, we will identify how science and technology have affected our communication, transportation, and recreation. I will go into that. And how will we do this? Through a PowerPoint, you watching this video. And why? Because knowing how science and technology works makes us aware of how and where the things that we use come from. We don't just magically get a cell phone. We don't just magically randomly get a bottle of hand sanitizer. They all come from somewhere. So let me tell you first what we're going to be talking about. We're talking about transportation. Transportation, how you get from some place to another, whether it's walking, whether it's through a car, whether it's through a plane. But I'm here to tell you about the first ever airplane. Wilbur and Orville Wright, they grew up in Ohio. They ran a bicycle shop and they loved to work with machines. They invented a way to steer an airplane in 1903. They flew their first airplane and landed it safely. In 1911, a plane they built was the first to fly across the United States. It took 84 days. They stopped 70 times on the way, and this was here it is. Do airplanes look like that now? No, they don't. I want you to think about how, remember this picture. I mean, you can always come back to this, but remember this picture because you're going to have to compare it to how an airplane looks like now and what has changed. All right, here we are. We're talking about another form of transportation. In 1885, Carl Benz built the first automobile, the first car with an engine that ran on gas, which is what we use today, how some of you get to school, how some of your humans that at home get to and from work, things like that. He got a patent in 1886, and if you're wondering what a patent is, it's basically just like something to say, like if Miss Marciel invented this package of, or this brownie, I would get it patent. That means that it says that I own it, I made this, and no one else can copy me. So that's what he did. He was smart. And so once he said, okay, this is what I own, he began selling his motor carriage. And that's how it looked. Think about how this looked compared to what cars look like now, because you will have to think about it and you will have to name some major differences. Are the wheels different? Or is that steering wheel different? Some of it's the same. Like, do you think about a car steering wheel or a bus steering wheel? Are they both circle? They're both circular shaped, right? All right, so now I am here to tell you another form of transportation. Robert Fulton is called the father of steam travel. In 1807, he created the first steamboat passenger service. His steamboat, the Clermont, made a 150-mile trip in 32 hours at 5 miles per hour. Guys, 5 miles per hour is not fast. Have you ever came to school in a car in the morning, and when you're passing around here, there's always speed limit signs. So it says here, when you're next to a school, you can only go 20 miles. So your human who brings you to school, or if someone brings you to school, or if a bus brings you to school, they're driving, they go slow in the school area. That's 20 miles per hour. And if you think that's slow, imagine 5 miles per hour. That's even slower. It traveled on a schedule instead of on the tides, and it did not need wind. Usually boats back then depended on the wind, but nope, this boat didn't need that. So I have another presentation to show you because there's some cool videos on here, and you're just really going to like it. So remember, technology, changing the way that we live. Here we are. What is technology? Technology is anything built by people to solve problems. So think about this right now. I want you to say it out loud. Maybe you sound like a little crazy if you want, even though if you're sitting by yourself, it's totally okay. I want you to say out loud what you know about technology. What do you know about technology? I know on my phone right here, you can see me and my best friends, right? On my phone, I know that whenever I look at it, it unlocks. It unlocks, and then you can see everything that's right here. You can see my TikTok app, you can see my Instagram app, right? But all I did was look at it. So I know that technology can recognize it, sees my face, and then it opens my phone for me, right? That's one thing I know about technology. But what do you know about technology? All right, clothing, food, and water. That has changed, believe it or not. Things have not always just randomly been here. Remember, we're thinking about things that were in the past, comparing to things how things are made now in the present. So let's check out clothes, food, and water, because it hasn't always been the same. So clothing, look, do we still dress like this? Do we still make clothes like this? No. Do we still get food like this? Kinda. We do plant crops and stuff like that, but we do it a different way. This guy is cooking, but look at the way he's cooking. What do we use now when we cook? Right? I think you might know the answer to that question. And right here, it looks like maybe there's a well. This is how they're getting water. How has that changed? What do we know about how they met their needs back then? What did they do? Look at how she's probably making clothes. This person is, I can't really tell what he's doing, but I'm thinking that he is maybe putting down some seeds or something. This dude is cooking, but he's using a stick and it looks like a pot with some fire. We don't cook like that. I mean, maybe if we're like camping or something, but typically in our day-to-day lives, we don't cook like that. Our cafeteria, people who cook our lunch, they don't cook our lunches like this. And that's not how they get water, right? This is, I'm sorry, I'm making a video. Okay, this is now how we get clothes. They're already in a store for us. This is how we get food, right? All we have to do is go to a grocery store, or our humans at home who take care of us, they just serve us dinner. This is how we get our food too. Sometimes we get pizza delivered, or sometimes we go and pick up the pizza. I don't know if you've ever been to Mr. Gatti's. Sometimes they have it just like all right there for you. And this is how we get water, through our faucets, right? Here at Elgin Elementary, we have a spot where you can get water. It's a water fountain. So that is how it's changed from the past to now. Now think about homes. Think about homes. So here are some homes that were built a long time ago. Now, do our homes look like that today? Some of them might, but most of them don't, especially the ones that are just now being built, especially in Elgin. They don't look like this anymore. But long ago, homes were built with material that were just available in the area. Whatever that was here, that was in front of them, is what they used to build their homes. Okay, and let's look at so now we see how homes look like now. This is kind of like we see apartments, things like that, right? And look at the lights. Now we have like sockets that we can put our cords in. We can charge our phones. This is what our baths look like. This is how we get we cool off or get some hot air. If you see Miss Marcel's fan is back there because it is hot in here. And this is how we cook now, right? That is how technology has changed, guys and girls. We plug this in, air comes out. They used to not have that back then. We start this oven and we cook. Back then they used to just have to use fire and a pot. And then we have a microwave. We have microwaves too, right? We just like open it up. We want to warm some food up and all we got to do is press and it uses electricity. That is how far we've come, because those things used to never be available to us. Now think about school. School. We have not always had a school that looks like ours. Look how schools looked back then. Look at those. Look at the chairs. They're made out of tree stumps and wood. Do we have chairs made out of tree stumps and wood? Now that looks a little bit more like what we have today, but still not quite. I mean, what are some major differences? Do you see black chalkboards in Elgin Elementary? No. What about our seats? No, but there I see some words, cat, little cat, see a little cat. That's so cool. I love seeing old schools. Compared to now, we have what kind of boards? We have Promethean boards. We have computers. Did they have computers back then? They didn't have computers there. And then laser a look at a classroom, and now you can see what our classrooms look like, especially like if you're in person right now. We have cell phones. We don't really use cell phones in school, but we use iPads, right? And technology has really, I mean, they didn't have technology back then. You know, if they wanted to find information about a cheetah or about an elephant, they couldn't just go to Google and type in, what do cheetahs eat? What do elephants eat? They had to go to the library. They had to find books, and we have books here too, but technology has allowed us to find different ways to get information and to teach you guys and girls. So transportation a long time ago, this is how it was, through horses, through just walking, sailboats, I told you horses and the carriages, and a train, okay? What do you know about transportation a long time ago? Well, we can look at these pictures, and we can see, well, this is how people got around. If you wanted to go to H-E-B, well, back then H-E-B wasn't available, but if you wanted to go to the grocery store, you had to use a horse. You probably had to either walk or maybe a bike, right? And this is what we use now. We use cars, we use school buses, airplanes, right? Now, communication. Communication is communicating with one another, whether it's talking, whether on the phone, whether we're texting, whether we're emailing, right? Back then, people used to use this telephone. That's how a telephone looks. Look at that phone compared to what we have now. Can you see the differences between those two? Totally. People used to write letters and mail them off, or newspapers. That's how you found out information that was going on, the news that was going on. And today we have cell phones, we have Zoom, where we can talk to one another. We also have FaceTime, right? Recreation. These are things that we like to do in our free time. What are some things that went on back then that people like to do? Let's look. There was lots of reading. Kids like to play with dolls. Looks like they're playing a game of marbles and maybe a wagon, being dragged around in a wagon, or dancing. Those were things that people like to do back then. And honestly, those look like things that we do now. They just probably look a little different, right? But these are the things that we do today for fun. We watch TV. Who here likes Cocomelon? maybe you're too old for that. But which one of you likes Spirit? Or what's another one? I love Dino Dana. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Or we go to arcades and we play those games, or we play on the computer and we play games. You guys play iPad games on your iPads, or we listen to music, right? Or have anybody ever gone go-kart racing? Those are the things that we like to do for fun, right? Oh my goodness. So they have all changed from things that we've done. Okay. There's a huge difference between how we used to get around, how we used to communicate, and the things that we did for fun. People back then did different things than that we do now. Make sure you pay attention to the activity, because I want to know some big differences that you see. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.